Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to do a service on a lawnmower. Welcome back guys. In the last two videos you've seen me clean the air filter and change the oil in this lawnmower. In this video we're going to check the spark plug and sharpen the lawnmower blade. What we're going to do is just remove the spark plug, check its condition, check the gap, and just clean it if it needs it. So we'll just grab some tools. When you're just undoing your spark plug, just turn the spark plug so it's turning anti-clockwise and that'll loosen it. So just give it a bit of a bang just to loosen it, and should be able to do the rest by hand. Okay, and that's our spark plug. Doesn't look too bad, but we'll give it a bit of a clean and we'll just check the gap on it. Right, so just looking at the spark plug here, if you're finding that the spark plug's a little bit too oily or gummed up, you can, I just use a little bit of CRC or WD-40 to clean it up. You can get spark plug cleaning sprays, but I find that this sort of spray does the trick anyway. And how I clean the area up around the spark plug is I just use a wire brush. Now I use the brass type of wire brush, the bristles are a lot softer. Okay, so we'll just pop this into the vise. Right, so what we're going to do is just take our wire brush and we're just going to clean off some of this dirt. Now if you've got a lot of build up around this bottom part of the spark plug, you can just take a razor blade and just scrape that off. But basically this is pretty clean anyway, so there's hardly anything on there. Right, so that's looking pretty good. That's pretty much clean. I'm just going to give this terminal a bit of a clean up, and just around this gasket area just give it a bit of a freshen up. So just quickly brush that, and just this terminal here, you can see there's a little bit of surface rust on there. It's nothing major, but we'll just give it a clean while we've got it out. Right, so the next step of the process is just setting the spark plug gap. So we're setting the gap between the ground electrode and the center electrode on the spark plug, and to do that you will need a spark plug gapping tool, and I'll show you how you set the gap. Right, we'll take our spark plug gapping tool and we'll measure that distance between the ground and center electrode on the spark plug. Now I've already looked on the internet and found that the spark plug gap for this lawnmower should be at 0.76 millimeters. So you just have to pop that 0.76 millimeter spacer in between the ground and center electrode, and I can already see there is a little bit of a gap there. So what we need to do is press that ground electrode down. If the gap's too small, you can just take the tool, pop it into the ground electrode and just bend it up. That'll widen that gap between the ground and center electrode. So we want to minimize that gap, and we just want to remember that it's 0.76 millimeters. So what we'll do is we'll just pop that down onto the workbench, and we're just going to put a bit of pressure on that ground electrode. So after putting pressure on that ground electrode, we just want to remember I've got it on the right one, so 0.76, and that's a nice snug fit there. So we've got the correct gap set on our spark plug. Now that we've gapped the spark plug, we'll just pop this back into the lawnmower. Okay, we'll just go back to our lawnmower here, and we're just going to screw this in by hand, and you just want to watch you don't cross thread the spark plug. So normally I'll do it up by hand just to avoid that. Now there's a crush washer on the bottom of the spark plug. Normally I'll just put a bit of pressure on this until you feel it stop. You just want to be careful you don't strip the thread on the head of the engine and the thread on the spark plug. Right, so that's the spark plug cleaned and gapped. I'm going to leave this high tension lead off it for now, because the next step of the process is looking at sharpening the lawnmower blade. Okay, so we're going to remove this lawnmower blade here, and I'm just going to prop this bit of wood up down under the base here, just so we've got it up on a solid bit of the blade and the edge of the base. Now we'll just try and undo this. Okay, I'm just going to swap to a ratchet. Right, so we've removed the blade out of the lawnmower. Now, one thing I forgot to mention was just to mark what side the bottom side of the blade is, so that way when you put it in, you're not putting it around the wrong way. So this blade only goes in one way anyway, but it's just good practice just to mark it anyway. So we'll get on to sharpening. Now you can see these are replaceable blades on this, but we've also got some cutters here in the middle of the blade that will sharpen up. We'll replace these two ends. Right, so we've installed the two blades onto this blade carrier here, but we've also got two center blades on this carrier that we need to sharpen up. Now all you need to do this is a flat file, and it's pretty easy sharpening these blades up, because what you're doing is you're just following the existing blade angle. So you're just running your file along the blade surface, keeping that angle and just sharpening that blade up. Now if we turn this over, you can see here that the blade's not actually very sharp. You're just keeping an angle there, but it doesn't have to be like razor sharp or kitchen knife sharp. So you're just wanting to keep that angle, but you don't want to make it a razor sharp angle. So we'll pop that back in and we'll start sharpening this. Okay, so if we just take our flat file here, and we'll start off by sharpening this side of this carrier blade here. Now just remember you're following the existing angle of the cutting blade here. So we'll just start off with this one, and you're just sharpening towards the pointed end. Now you can tell that I'm following the existing blade angle here, because I'm cleaning up a lot of that surface in one equal sort of sweep. Okay, I'll just check that one. Okay, that's looking good, and we'll just do the same to the other side as well. So just remember, cut towards the blade edge and follow the existing blade angle, and you should be right. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay guys, the last step of the process is just balancing the blade. Now the reason you balance it is you're sharpening the blade, you're actually removing metal off the blade, and the more metal you remove off one side, the blade can just become out of balance. Now I don't have a blade balancer as such, but I've come up with something that sort of works well for me. Now I just use a marble and a socket, and the marble just sort of sits on top of the socket and spins freely in there. What I do is I just place a bit of oil on top of that marble, and then I just drop the oily side into the socket. So as we place that down, I'll just show you how this works. so that just moves freely in there. So we'll just place the blade on top of this marble. Just try and keep it so it is sort of straight, and then just move your hands away. So that looks to be pretty balanced. Now I'll show you what happens if it isn't balanced, and if I just move my hands away, see how that blade is coming down? So we can tell that that is out of balance on that side of the blade. Yep, so that seems to be pretty balanced. I'm happy with that. So we'll just place that back in the mower. Now I nearly forgot to show you what to do if the blade is out of balance. So this is the blade carrier here and the two blades that we sharpened earlier. We've determined that's pretty much balanced. Here's another blade that I've just sharpened. I've already put this on the balancer here and it is balanced. So we'll just check that. But say for example one of the ends was to go down on you, the heavy end you would take off a little bit of metal. So on this blade for example, if this was the heavy end, you'd just file a bit off the edge here. And once you've filed off the heavy end, just recheck it on the balancer and just keep filing until the blade comes into balance. If you're running a carrier like this, I wouldn't file anything off the carrier itself, but if you've got the heavy end say on this side, I'll just take a bit off the blade. Okay, so I'll just spray a bit of oil up here. And we're just going to mount this blade back on here. So just remember we previously marked the blade, so this is the bottom of the blade here. Right, so that's the job done. We've successfully sharpened the blade here and replaced the blades on this carrier. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of this video. So over this 3-part series we've looked at changing the oil on the lawnmower, cleaning the air filter and sharpening the lawnmower blade. Hopefully you've learned something from watching this video. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you on the next video.